Parenting is an adventure, and like any other adventure, you've got to work hard and be prepared.
The quest is on.
We're in search for all things parenting. We hear from the kids, from the professionals, and from you, real parents on real issues. It's all happening right here, right now, on Care.
Care, the adventures of parenting.
Hi, welcome to Care. Today it is SCA strategies. Not just SCA strategies, but strategies for SCA and beyond. I know that that's very important, but it isn't important to me because I don't plan on doing SCA ever as a parent, as a child, as a nothing. But I know that it's very important. It's around that time. We have a few weeks coming up before SCA, so I've brought in the experts. I call her an expert because I think she really helped me on my journey with Jessie Lee. If anybody knows, I used to cry trying to teach Jessie to spell cat. It was like, this cannot be so difficult. And when we met with Stacy, it was like, oh my goodness, if somebody had taught me this, I might have been a little bit smarter. So I present to you ICANN, International Children's Academy for Neurodevelopment. Thank God they shortened it to ICANN. And they're going to help us with study strategies, brain strategies for SCA and beyond SCA. Yes?
Yes.
Tell me, who's ICANN? Okay. What do y'all do?
Well, ICANN represents International Children's Academy for Neurodevelopment. We started in 2009. Our goal is to help children unlock their learning potential. And to do that, we work with parents.
Okay.
We work with parents to educate them as well as to equip them to be able to do that. And so we have worked. First of all, let me also say that people use the name ICANN in Trinidad and out of Trinidad, but they are not necessarily connected.
Okay.
Okay, so it's an organization registered here in Trinidad. We have worked with literally thousands of families. We have actually worked with over 3,000 children already in Trinidad and Tobago. They have come from different backgrounds, different parts of Trinidad, whether it's south, southeast, north, northeast, Tobago, everywhere. And they have worked with children of different learning styles, different learning capabilities, even those who are considered gifted, those who are considered termed normal, those who are considered having challenges. We work with every single type of children. And so, we have also partnered with two organizations from the United States, Child Development International and National Association for Child Development, have also worked with us here in Trinidad as well. And so the goal is to be able to help children in their development, their learning, and their education. So that's a little bit about who I can.
Why would someone need to work with somebody who's gifted? Doesn't gifted mean that you're getting everything very quickly?
Okay, well, part of what we do is helping to move the child forward. So as we work with the children, what we do is look at functioning and development in areas like cognitive processing, which would include auditory processing, visual processing, working memory. We would also look at math, reading, and reading comprehension. So it doesn't matter where you are, it's about moving you forward. So once we work with you, then we're able to design a program to move you forward. And we design a program.
You're gifted, you need to move forward still?
Well, we design a program of activities that is specific to you.
Okay.
Right? So, I mean, even if you're gifted, you would still probably need to develop in other areas. Different areas, because nobody's perfect.
Okay.
Gifted doesn't mean perfect. So
now you said you work with parents, so you're not working with the child, working with the parents.
Right. So what it is we do is we equip the parents how to work with the children. So we look at the child to see where the child's level of development and functioning is at, but then we equip the parents to work with the children. Why? Simply because the parents are in contact with their children on a daily basis. And so if we equip the parents, then they are better be able to help their children. And so it helps also create that bond between the parent and the family. Because what we have also found is that there are a number of families who want to help their children, but they don't know what to do.
Okay.
And so it helps that connect as well in that whole process.
Now, I homeschool, right? So I already willing to sit and try to help my child, whether I can or cannot, still to be seen. What happens to the person who can't really read or write properly? So how do they help their children? Do you take all of that into consideration?
yeah, so one of the things we do is when we design the program, which by the way is designed to be implemented in a 3-month period, we actually train the parent how to do the activities, what they have to do specifically, how long to take on each activity, how often to do it as well. And so they leave our office knowing exactly what to do, because we show them, we train them, and we follow up with them consistently in a 3-month period. So it's kind of like holding their hands and walking them through in that 3-month
Well,
period.
I know y'all have some testimonies to show a little later, but I'm going to give y'all my personal testimony. They call all the time. Well, not Stacey and Lincoln, somebody else is called all the time. And they really do check up and make sure, you know, how is it going. I remember one thing Jessie just wasn't getting, and they changed it about. And the truth is, if you could memorize things very well, you know, if you've managed that, a lot of people who don't know how to read and write do manage the memory and whatnot.
Right.
So I would say you don't really have to be super literate.
That's right.
To be able to be engaged.
Yes.
Just from
and
my
because
personal
we
experience.
show you how to do the activities.
Yeah. So you could go off just remembering what it is that you've said to me. And honestly, I find that this helps me. Going through the program with Jess has helped me.
Yes. Yeah. And one of the things parents say, Marsha, is that just spending that time with their child has made such a difference, you know, because it's meaningful time, you know, and both the child and the parent know that they are doing something that makes a difference.
So when we say time, because I know time is a big thing with parents, what kind of time are we thinking? What are we talking about? An hour, 2 hours? So we have schoolwork, we have homework, we have extracurricular, we have dinner, we have dishes, we have...
I think one of the things that we do, well, like one of the questions we ask the families, how much time can you give towards spending with this child in terms of working a program? And so we look at that, we take that into consideration. For the average parent, a program is about 15 to 20 minutes a day.
Right.
Right? If a parent may have more time, we can develop a longer program, but it's about 15 to 20 minutes a day we look at.
So that's fairly reasonable for any parent to fit in. Do we tell them what it is you say? No, we don't tell them. We can tell
Well,
them.
if you can't find 15 to 20 minutes a day to spend with your child, then it's not necessarily a time issue, but a parenting issue.
Right. So you could find 15 minutes is what you're trying to say in a nice way.
Yes.
So 15 minutes is not a hard thing to do. Right.
Yeah.
What about, can you tell me, like, okay, so the approach is parenting first. And you find that, I'm just making sure, right? And the impact of that is the bonding, you know, equipping the parents. Yes? Great. So we're gonna go on a break.
Okay.
And when we come back, you're gonna start to dig into the actual program. What's cognitive processing? What's working memory? You spoke about auditory, this, something, that, all kind of thing. Fancy names. When we come back, she's going to explain all these fancy terms to us. Don't go anywhere. We're doing strategies for SEA and beyond. You're watching Care. Welcome back to Care. It's a brand new season and we've started off with SEA strategies, study strategies, any kind of strategies for life, for SEA, for beyond. I've been working with Jessie Lee with this particular company and it's been helping me and my memory. My brain don't seem to be falling off as much anymore. If you're just joining us, we are joined by ICANN, which stands for International Children's Academy for Neurodevelopment. Stacey and Lincoln, can I tell people that y'all are husband and wife?
Sure.
Can I tell them that this is the man marrying me as well? Y'all not getting married, right?
That's sounding
Oh, no, no, no.
like
Okay, fine. So he is not marrying me. Like, I'm not getting married to him. He is the reverend that's, you know, going to stand up and be like, say I do, you say I do, drag me down the aisle and be like, whether you like it or not, that's what you're doing. Yeah, you see, we have good people on Saturday, real good people on Saturday. So, okay, let's put the brain back on and let's get back to fancy stuff. Cognitive processing.
Yes.
What is cognitive processing?
Okay, so a lot of what we do is based on what you call neuroplasticity, which is the...
Okay, first, before, what is cognitive processing? What is
So I'm leading up to it. So your brain can change, basically. That's what it means, right? And all our functions and responses basically are as a result of what happens in the brain.
Okay.
So once you provide specific stimulation that is frequent and with a particular duration and intensity, you can affect the brain and therefore affect function, right? So we work to improve your cognitive processing, basically. And cognitive processing, which includes auditory processing, visual processing, working memory, is very important for education, learning, and development. It refers to the amount of information we can take in, store, manipulate, and output in our normal functioning, basically. Okay. It's also very important for things like reasoning, logic, understanding, paying attention, critical thinking, decision making, right? So it is huge for affecting life, not just academics. So what you find is that you want your cognitive processing to be well developed in order to function properly.
Okay.
Yeah.
How are we developing this cognitive processing? You should talk about all kind of fancy words. Auditory processing, that's your ability to process through hearing.
Right.
Visual processing.
Right, hearing information, storing it, manipulating, and outputting it.
Okay.
Right.
Could you break that down a little simpler? What does that mean? What does that look like? An example of what that looks like.
Okay, so, okay, let's
Marsha,
just
go
talk
wash
about in the
dishes.
classroom. Let's just talk about in the classroom.
Okay.
You are sitting in class and a teacher is giving step-by-step instructions, and you have to sit in class and take in the instructions, remember each one of them, and be able to execute them in the order that it was given. Right? So again, being able to follow directions, being able to listen to instructions and complete them, being able to think critically, problem solve.
Being able to hold all the pieces. And
all
then,
the pieces of
'cause
information.
I remember with this one, you know, if you say to Jess, can you do X, Y, Z,
Right.
it'll be fine. But if you say, can you do X, Y, Z, A, B, C,
Right.
then she literally almost has like a meltdown.
Right.
You know, if I say, okay, Jess, we're about to go, can you go brush your teeth, use the bathroom, and put the dogs away?
Right.
She'll be fine. If the list goes on a little too long, it's like, you know, what do you want me to do? How many things do you want me to do? And she literally went crazy. Is that what we're talking about?
Right, and it's because of where her level of cognitive processing was. So
Okay.
the idea for Jess was to move up her cognitive processing to a higher level so she could manage more pieces of information, right? And low cognitive processing, research has shown, results in not being able to follow instructions, poor attention span, poor reading, spelling, poor math. It also leads to behavioral issues, low self-esteem, not being able to manage the quality of your work and so on. So again, cognitive processing, yes, it's being able to follow instructions, but it's much larger than that.
I have to go and do something called finance and the family. As everyone knows, we are, you know, like in economic crisis, and we are all trying to make our paychecks stretch more than they can possibly stretch. So we've designed a feature called Finance and the Family to help manage our finances and get us, you know, beyond that, make it last the 30 days. Don't go anywhere, guys. Finance and the Family is up next.
Account for every dollar earned. Get a small notepad and track every dollar of your salary for the next 3 months. After taxes are deducted, 20% of your earnings should be saved. 50% should be spent on mandatory expenses such as utilities, loans, which include your car loan, rent, or mortgage. Basically, anything that will cause someone to come knocking on your door needs to fit into 50% of your take-home income. That means only 30% is left for discretionary income. What do we mean by that? We mean anything that makes life bearable. If you use that definition as a guide, then you will also realize that groceries and school books should be among your mandatory expenses, because these should not be counted as luxuries. The 30% is needed to keep the family sane and mentally stable. Even if that amounts to taking the family to the beach once a month, this bonding time is crucial and should be accounted for.
welcome back to CARE. Today we are learning strategies for SEA and beyond. We are learning how to redesign our brain, kind of neuroplasticity. It means that the brain can be trained, it can change. Thank God, there's hope for me. We're talking cognitive processing.
Yeah.
We started off, we just when we went on to break, we started to talk about some of the signs of poor cognitive processing, some of the solutions. How do you start to fix it? You know, so let's get back into that because I'm really interested in figuring out how to fix my cognitive processing.
So let me just give you an example of a child that I worked with recently. He's 8 years old. He was processing like a 3-year-old.
Okay.
And he wasn't able to identify his numbers. He could count from 1 to 10, but he wasn't able to identify the numbers from 1 to 10. He couldn't read, do simple math facts, and so on. We worked with him consistently for about 3 months. And at the end of the 3 months, we were able to see improvements in his cognitive processing, and he could identify his letters, numbers beyond 10. He could do reading of simple books, basic math facts, and of course that affected his confidence level, his behavior, the way he could converse, and so on. So I'm just saying that to say cognitive processing can be worked on. You know, we can work with our children to improve those things. Now, he would have been in standard 1 or 2. He was in preschool, but now he's probably able to move up.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how do, so okay, is this something that I can work on? Can I start to work on it at home? Before we get into working on it, I mean, there are some drastic things, but how do I know, is there a way to say, okay, look, they're not, my kid isn't really where she should be? What are some symptoms?
Right. And I think that's one of the areas that parents can really look out for, you know. Is my child focusing the way he or she is supposed to be focusing? When I give instructions at home, go upstairs, get this, bring it for me. Does he or she remember, or does he or she forget halfway through? What about copying notes at school? Are they coming home with halfway notes or not remembering what the teacher said? So there are some cues that we could look for to determine, is this working for my child, or is the cognitive processing working with?
Okay, so you have a little slide that we can show, just that we can go through very quickly. What are some of the symptoms of poor cognitive processing?
Right, yes.
Do you want to just go through it a little bit?
Yes, and this is research material. I also want to say that this is what we found in Trinidad as well, Trinidad and Tobago, as we worked with, this pertains to our context. So we saw things like poor memory, inability to focus, short attention span, difficulty reading, difficulty in comprehension, poor spelling, difficulty in math, problems monitoring the quality of your work, owning your work and recognizing this is not up to standard. We have difficulty generating solutions, and can my child think in a critical manner? We'll find behavioral issues sometimes, and poor social skills, that whole confidence and self-esteem and so on will be affected.
What are some of the things that parents can do at home to I mean, I'd love to come to you.
Right.
So we'd go through what some of the things that you might do, but is it that our education system should be doing it but isn't doing it? I mean, could we be lacking it? Or is it some things that we're not playing anymore, we're not putting into our day anymore? What are some of the things that we can do?
You know, some of the things that really help would just be parenting. So you spend time with your child, you go outside, play develops the brain. You remember those long time games, skipping, PC, hopscotch, moral, those things develop the brain. Strategic board games, we can read and discuss stories. Of course, if you know your child is struggling with cognitive processing in terms of following direction and focusing and so on, you can also give them the instructions in smaller bits, so it's easier for them to remember and follow.
Okay,
right.
So board games, I think things like memory, you know, we used to play memory with cards and stuff. We probably didn't realize that we were
how
actually
much it was
learning.
doing. Yeah, how much it was doing.
So we need to bring back some of those games. Can I ask a question? If we
Chess.
play memory on the iPad, it's good enough? Or memory with the cards, is it any different?
Well, one, you get interaction, and that is invaluable. And we always encourage spending time with your child. It makes a very big difference.
Okay, fine. She's making us spend time with them, guys. Don't go anywhere. We have Care Tech Tip, because I just brought up iPads. So we're going to help you use the technology a little bit more. Well, a little bit better, not a little bit more. Don't go anywhere. Care Tech Tip is up next. And then when we come back, we talk SCA. Watch and care.
BRB, TTYL, MYB, HAK, AFK, and PAW. OMG, it's all just too much. LOL. On a real though, learning the lingo doesn't mean trying too hard to fit in. In fact, please don't. Don't use it. That would be equivalent of your grandmother showing up at a Mayfair and trying to be cool. Just gross, really. Learning the lingo simply means being in the know, so when your kid types PAW, you know that it stands for parents are watching and something's being kept from you. A tech-savvy teen can use messages just like we use gibberish or pig Latin. Learn the lingo and stay in the know.
Hi, welcome back to Care. It is season 2. Thank you for coming back with us. We have done something new. It's called confessions. Confessions, basically, we take some of the things that people want to get off their chest. I guess it's really like what confessions in church looks like. And they say it's unidentified, it's a safe space, but it also helps us maybe get a perspective for some of the things that I think that we judge, you know. So we're gonna hear from teens, we're gonna hear from victims of abuse, you know, and of course, abuse and domestic violence, that's a big one going on right now. And a lot of people, I see really hurtful comments on threads on social media, and you know, they say, well, she's stupid for staying, why she stay so long, and stuff like that. So confessions, yes, it's actually healing for some of the people that have come forward, you know, because for them, it feels like, look, I'm getting to really tell the world, even though I'm not saying who I am. But it helps us develop a little bit more empathy for the situation because, of course, through understanding someone's situation, hopefully we can develop a little bit more compassion for them. So don't go anywhere. We're going to have our first confession, and then we'll come back to talk a little bit about SCA and all the strategies for beyond. What age would you say, what forms that cutting is happening in?
1. Because I know a girl, when I was in Form 2, a girl who used to cut herself, she used to have razor blades in she phone in the back way. They could take out the battery, right there, she used to have razor blades. And you used to see it all over she hand. Not only the hand too, it would be the leg, you're hiding it on your leg so nobody will see, something like that.
And do you know why she was cutting? Was she getting help?
I think I heard she went to counseling in the school, but we used to talk. She said something with she family, or she losing all she male members, or she brother, she father, she uncle. I just be observing what is going on. Sometimes you will smell smoke from my area, or there we hiding lighters and stuff in the specific chair that them will cut up and will put secret compartments in.
Is sex happening in school yet?
Well, from what I heard, I think, yeah.
At your age?
I think so.
You think so?
Mostly I just hear Form 5s.
You hear Form 5s?
Form 5s and Form 3s.
And they're talking about it?
Yeah.
Yeah? Nice. What about bullying? How big a problem is that?
Yes. Well, bullying is like probably a normal thing now.
Why do you think that other kids get involved in some of these activities?
I'm sure. Probably the influences around them. Or the friends them have. There are other children who grow up in some background. So they come and spreading their background to their friends and stuff. Teachers will know smoking and stuff is going on in school and they won't do nothing about it.
Why do you think they're not doing anything about it?
From what I heard is like if a teacher caught a student smoking, it's something that they have to go in court and that, so the teacher is probably trying to duck that and not go to court, probably. I just find the teachers real unfair. Like the simplest things you'll get in trouble for. When you see smoking and things, don't let them get away with that. Because most of the teachers know who would be smoking. It's not like different people, it's always the same people I'm catching and don't do nothing about it.
Is there anything that you want to say to parents? This is your turn to say what's on your mind, what you want parents to know. Is there anything you want to say? If you
Just
could say
be
anything.
in your child's life.
When you say, so you said spend time with your children. What does that mean? I mean, some parents work. So how much time are we talking?
You know, at least probably an hour. So say the parent always working whole day. Suppose then come home at night, you sit down and watch a movie. I spending time. Or a day off, you go to the mall. Just spend time, stay home, talk. Find out what you missed out on.
Hi, welcome back to CARE. Today it is about strategies for SCA and beyond. SCA is in a few weeks' time. I do not know the date. Stacey, when is the date?
It's 2.5 weeks.
Okay,
Yeah.
not
Third.
May 3rd.
Yeah, sorry.
Right there. Oh, I
Yes.
don't know if these strategies going to really help for this SCA, maybe 2019 SCA.
Yeah.
Do you have any strategies that can help in this short space of time?
Yes, you know, I just want to also say that we also speak as educators, but as parents, we also have a daughter writing SEA in 2.5 weeks' time.
Right.
So we understand the anxiety and the stress that could come with it. You know, I just want to encourage the children, do your best. That's all we can ask. Continue doing your past papers. While you're doing your past papers, remember things like reading your questions carefully, reading your instructions carefully. Practice some time management. Maybe you would want to spend more time on areas that you're weaker at or areas with more marks. Of course, during this time, you want to remember to eat well, get enough rest so you're not tired on the day. If you are too stressed, there's nothing wrong in taking a little time out and doing something fun. Of course, we're not encouraging trying bungee jumping for the first time or eating something new that would give you allergies and so on. We need to be careful. But we could go to the beach, we could go to the mall.
Go check out turtles.
Yeah. So, you know, we could do those kind of things in 2.5 weeks. To the parents, we really want to encourage them to, encourage you to encourage your child. Be the positive one speaking in their lives, not to compare them with people at home or even outside. So we're not going to say things at this point like you need to do well as your sister did or your brother did or do as well as so-and-so in class and so on. We want to encourage them to fulfill their own potential, and because...
Or if you do pass for X school, don't come home.
Right, yeah.
Like
we don't want to do those kinds of things at this point. And we want to give the children a fair chance to fulfill their own potential. And one of the things that have worked for us is we pray for our children, but also with our children. And to remember that SCA does not define your child. There's a lot of time after and opportunities after to ensure that your potential is just, you know, moving along. So let's not let SCA define our child. Enjoy the time. It's one season of life. So in 2.5 weeks, let's make the best of it.
May 3rd, I have to remember to wish everybody good luck on May 3rd.
Of course.
I'm going to write it down.
Yeah.
Lincoln, you have something to say? I see you itching across there.
I just want to add as well, because SEA has become such a big part of people's lives, and with SEA comes the whole concept of lessons.
Yes.
And I just want to add that sometimes if your child is not performing well in class, going to lessons may not necessarily make them perform better. Because it could be the reason that they're not performing well enough in classes because their cognitive processing is not allowing them to. So going to lessons would just add more pressure and stress. And so one of the things that you would want to do, whether your child is writing SEA now or 2019 or 2020 or whatever, develop their cognitive processing, because that's what will position them to do well, whether it's in class or lessons, right? So I just want to add that. Secondly, I just also want to add that cognitive processing is not just something that affects academics. I remember listening on the radio to a coach talking about how long it takes for players to actually get the ball when they're playing football. And one of the reasons is because their low cognitive processing doesn't allow them to think as quickly. So most times by the time they pass the ball, the person on the other team read the play already and intercepts the ball. And of course, if you don't have the ball, you can't win the game.
Right.
You can't score. So it affects that. It affects the
So we should probably be sending some of our cricketers
Definitely.
and stuff and some of our coaches to help athletes develop their cognitive processing.
Even like as you mentioned, cricket. Your cognitive processing helps you to be able to analyze the conditions that you play with, the bowler who is bowling you, etc., to know how to play. So it's not, you may have all this skill, but if you don't have your cognitive processing working for you, you will not be able to fulfill your full potential as that sports person. Or even in the field of arts. Our daughter, one of our daughters, she loves to dance. And because of her cognitive processing where it's supposed to be, she creates her own dances now because it helps her to be with her creativity. People who are tradespersons, they can maximize their potential, their ability to be creative and innovative as well. So cognitive processing affects every area of your life. Just as how math and language are life skills necessary for all of life, cognitive processing is even more foundational than that. Critical thinking, creative writing, we talked about SEA. The foundation for creative writing is having a strong cognitive processing.
So we're going to bring back some board games, bring back things like morals, bring back hopscotch, all these things that you said, chess.
Yes.
A lot of these things can help develop cognitive processing. Yes? Good. Here's what. We have to go and wrap up again because we have something called Fun Family Fitness. Y'all see my face?
Wow.
I'm putting on some weight. So I think this segment is more for me, this feature is more for me than anybody else. We've tried to discover ways to lose weight easily, to lose weight fun, to lose weight all around the kitchen, to lose weight without the bra, if you all have ever seen my braless series. Right, all kind of thing we're trying to find. Really and truly, we should just get up and go exercise. So we have Fun Family Fitness. That's our new feature. Let's go check out what they're doing.
Hi, you're watching Fun Family Fitness. I'm your host, Jessie Lee, and we're going to see how my dad stays fit at the office. Come on, let's go. Hi, Pretend Dad.
Hi, Pretend Daughter. How are you?
Good.
What brings you by today?
These kids want to know how you stay fit in the office.
All right. Hi, kids. So, I stay fit at the office by doing a number of activities. But before I explain some of the activities, I want you guys to know that being in the office, being at work isn't an excuse to not eat healthily. So, first thing first, you need to eat healthy, either if you're at work or at the office. Parents at work, you still need to get your daily nutritional needs in, your water in, your healthy snacks in. First things first. Aside and apart from that, to build some guns, you really do need to get some exercises in. So for me, once I have a steady desk, at times I may just get up, stretch my legs, do some stretches, warm up a little bit, limber up, get those joints going. And a simple thing like a desk press. You work your chest, you can work your arms a little bit like that. But the key is to actually stay active to, for many hours we stay planted behind the desk, doing a lot of things. Like my lovely daughter knows that I work very hard, spend more than 8 hours behind the desk. So we want to get up, stay active, stretch a little bit. And it's not just for men. women also. We need to stay active. So if you want to build some big legs and quads and some hamstrings like my lovely daughter here, you could do some nice little hamstring curls. Can you demonstrate a hamstring curl? Yeah. Well, we'll get the form down later on, right? We could also work our core by doing some knee raises. Some simple knee raises for a couple minutes per day during the day. Stimulate the core, get some fat burning around that area, right? So those are just a couple of the activities that I do, some tips that I can share in how to stay active during the day, at work, in the office. Guys, so you want to stay with us on Fun Family Fitness over the next couple of weeks. We're going to be explaining to you fitness, the lifestyle that it is, giving you some tips on how you can work out even at the office. You know, you may not have that gym membership. Having a child and all, it's a bit overbearing, can be a bit overbearing, it can be a bit tiresome, but we need to make time for and establish a balance for fitness and parenthood. So you'd want to stay with us, and you know, that's it from me and my pretended daughter, Jessie.
Righty. Jessie. Bye!
Welcome back to Care. Before we get back to the topic, we have, again, it's a new season, so new features. We're going to try all kinds of things. Last year, I presented, I don't know what it is, presented an idea, presented a paper, I don't know what you call it. But I was asked to speak at Arthur Lockjack about parenting for a sustainable society. In that presentation, I presented two ideas. One of them would have spoken about a lifelong change, the way, whole change of mentality. I felt as though teaching or preparing women, especially women, yes, I'm still traditional, that I do think, the women do all the childbearing or whatever, but whether it be man or woman, preparing parents, most of us going to become parents. So instead of this, go look for a job, go look for a job, go look for a job. And a lot of NGOs that I look at, what they try to do is place at-risk women in jobs. And I think that if we really look deeper, and I gave stories and examples and all of that, when a mom leaves a house at 4 o'clock in the morning and depends on her son to just get up and get ready on their own, get themselves to school, it's not because they're delinquent, but they have to get up to get a job, to get to work for 6, 7 o'clock if they're working shifts. Then they come home just in time. Most of the times, if you're working with bedtimes or whatever, the child's already had dinner. They're self-supervised. They're really self-raising, and it's not because the parents delinquent. It's just that the parents working. So one of the ideas that I pushed in the presentation was turning towards trade and working from home and really changing that concept of brick and mortar and having to go out. So I have developed a feature called Tell Me Your Business. Not to make anyone feel like, oh my gosh, I'm failing at life, but to see that it is possible, to see how many options are out there. We've done that, of course, with Care Magazine, where we have featured moms and we feature dads, to show that there are different ways. Even if you're thinking profession, what are some of the professions that may give you more time, more flexibility? How can we earn a good income? How can we live a good lifestyle, but not do it at the detriment of time with our children? So Tell Me a Business is all about that. We feature some moms and dads that are doing it, that are finding that way. And hopefully it will give you a little bit of inspiration. They do share their stories. They tell you that it's hard, because it is. But, at the end of it all, it is worth it. Tell Me a Business is up next.
There's two things. I think parenting is really hands-on, and it's very important to be able to share time with your children and help them to go through these stages with them, as opposed to having other people there always to manage those things, because sometimes in the long term it makes them a very much more balanced child.
This is why single mom Kim Bryan has her own art psychotherapy studio.
It definitely allows me more flexibility, especially with hours. I basically make my own hours. Yes, it depends a little bit on the availability of clients, but generally I can dictate what days I work and what times I work. And so in terms of being a mother, that makes me a little more flexible. But also, because of the environment I work in, I can always, like if I have to work late or whatever, I always bring my daughter along, and that's not really an issue.
So what exactly is this profession that allows Kim that flexibility?
It's art psychotherapy, and what it is, it's basically a psychological therapy which uses the medium of art. So we employ art techniques like painting, drawing, sculpture, to the creative process in general, to help people process their feelings and emotions and work on different challenges which they may be experiencing.
To all our moms and dads out there ready to ditch the 8 to 4 and pursue a career that will allow more family time, even to any young adult still trying to find your way, here's some advice from this week's Momtrepreneur.
What I would tell people to consider is to really follow your passions. You have to be passionate about what you do, because being self-employed is challenging, especially in terms of the economics of the climate. So you have to be passionate about what you do so you can pursue it with your full heart, if you know what I mean. So if there are difficulties, you will find different ways to manage that, in terms of finding different ways to market your skills, different ways to approach what you do, diversifying. So that would really be my advice.
So we're about to close up. We only have like 2 more minutes. So what do you have to say? Tell them where you can contact, how they can get in contact with you, and of course, any parting advice.
Yeah, I just want to tell parents, parenting is an awesome responsibility, but it's also a great privilege, and it's a very noble profession. And our children, we only have a limited time while they are children, and let's make the most of it. Let's take some time, spend with them, get them off the iPads and phones and so on, and really spend quality time with our children. Play with them, enjoy time with them while parenting.
Thank you.
I just want to be able to say as well, for every parent to be able to have their child focus on these 3 things. I can be, I can become, and I can do. It doesn't matter. I can be,
I can become, and I can do.
And it flows, because who you are, that's what you're becoming, and as a result of what you're becoming, you're able to do. And so that their potential can be realized. It doesn't matter what circumstances they come from, or background, or any other thing, they can be able to move forward. Some cases might be harder than others, but that doesn't mean that they can't. They can. And it's even one of the reasons why the name I Can exists, is for that people to push that, not just a philosophy, but a reality that can be true of every child. For us, our office is located in St. Augustine on the Eastern Main Road. It's very accessible. It's very close to UE. Our contact numbers, very easy to remember. 223 I Can.
Oh, I can remember that. 223 I Can.
Or even our other contact number plus WhatsApp is 268
I Can.
I Can.
Yay! 268 I Can.
And email address is icanlearning@gmail.com. You can also find us on Facebook as well. And so we want to encourage people, that we also do seminars as well. And so if you don't want to access our service directly, but want to attend any of our seminars, just contact the office. We'll keep a record of it. And so when next we have an seminar, we will be able to call you and invite you.
Awesome. Do you know what well, you know, I used to coach PE, right? And they wrote, I got a card and stuff when I was leaving, and they said, even trash can. Because I used to tell people in class, I'd never want a hair can't.
Right.
How about we'll try? How about something? But I don't want a hair can't.
Yeah.
So they came up with this little grouch thing and said, even trash can. And I thought it was so cool.
Yeah,
Guys,
we all
thank
can.
you very, very, very much for
Thank you
taking
for
the
having us,
time out.
Marshall.
Thank you. And I know Trinidad and Tobago and everybody else is watching, because these days I see all kind of Florida in the house and all kind of thing coming up.
Right.
Find us on Facebook, find us on Instagram. We're not on Snapchat yet. We try to be on Twitter, but not so good at that. Care Parenting. We have the magazine every last Friday of the month. My column, Lincoln just asked where it's come up with these things. I tell him it's God and the Holy Spirit. So I share my own opinions, because we don't get that from any professionals. That one's just on a Wednesday. If you want to hear my crazy thoughts, that's a Wednesday in The Guardian. What else? Oh, we have the radio program. It's 99.5 on a Thursday. So we're all over the place. Find us, Care Parenting. Find ICANN. And I hope you're enjoying season 2. Bye! See you next week.